Hello, it's Saturday the 16th of May. You're tuned in to our late night newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. It's great to have you with us. I'm Mark Broome. Our top story tonight, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry has told North Korea that its economic and diplomatic isolation will only become more acute if it continues to pursue its nuclear ambitions. Speaking to reporters following talks with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang in Beijing, Kerry urged Pyongyang to take note of the recently agreed nuclear framework deal between world powers and Iran, saying North Korea and its people would be a lot better off if the regime chose to denuclearize. Referring to North Korea's claims that it recently test-fired a submarine-launched ballistic missile, Kerry said the regime's destabilizing behaviours were unacceptable. Now, North Korea will be up for discussion when Kerry arrives in Seoul on Sunday for a two-day visit. He will meet with President Park Geun-hye and his South Korean counterpart Yoon Byung-se for talks on preparations for summit talks between Presidents Park and Obama in Washington in June. Top officials from the presidential office, government and ruling party have voiced their support for a recent bipartisan deal on the public employee pension system. However, they have stressed that those reforms should not be linked to the much larger national pension system. Park Ji-won reports.
Senior officials from the presidential office, the government and the ruling Saenuri party have spoken with one voice on the need to overhaul Korea's deficit-ridden pension system for public servants. The meeting was attended by President Park's Chief of Staff Lee Byung-gi, Deputy Prime Minister Choi Kyung-hwan, and the Saenuri party's leader Kim Moo-sung, and its floor leader Yoo Seung-min, among other officials. Meeting for 2 hours on Friday night, the three sides agreed that they should respect a revised public servant pension reform bill, which was agreed to by the ruling party and the main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy early this month. However, they said they cannot accept the attached condition of the agreement, which linked the public servant pension reforms to plans to reform the National Pension Service. On May 2nd, the leaders of the rival parties agreed to reform the pension system for public servants by making civil servants pay more contributions each month but receive less when they retire. By doing this, the government could save more than $300 billion over the next 70 years. The agreement was quickly salvaged by the presidential office as a trade-off deal would have given the NPAD the opportunity to include the agenda of reforming the national pension system during an assembly session in September. The trade-off deal was also flatly rejected by many within the ruling party. But it seems that with this latest meeting, the air has been cleared. The presidential office, the government, and the ruling party are now united in their stance of reforming the public servant pension system, but not the much larger national pension system. They say any reforms to the system, which affects almost everyone in the country, requires the agreement of the people and should be discussed separately and at another level. With the line drawn, the ball is now in the NPAD's court, but the Liberal Party's deputy spokesperson said on Saturday that the Saenuri party should stick to the trade-off deal it agreed to on May 2nd. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
Now, the countdown is officially on. There are now exactly 1,000 days left until the 2018 Winter Olympics kick off in Korea's alpine city of Pyongyang. Marking the occasion, the organisers of the Games held a special ceremony in Seoul on Saturday. They also revealed the latest slogan for Pyeongchang 2018, Passion Connected, as you can see there. The slogan conveys the hope of expanding the love of winter sports to other parts of the world, including Asia. In a video message, President Park Geun-hye said the Korean government is doing all it can to support the Olympics, which will be held exactly 30 years after the 1988 Seoul Olympics, the first Olympics ever to be held in Korea. Now, with Buddha's birthday a little over a week away, Korea has been celebrating by holding its annual Lotus Lantern Parade in Seoul. Our cultural correspondent Kim Ji-yeon went to check it out and filed this report.
Let light shine out of darkness. It's more than just a metaphor for the thousands of people taking part in the Lantern Parade in Seoul's Jongno district. Temple worshippers from around the country have lined the district's busy streets with colorful floats and lanterns. Some of them hold Lotus lanterns, which symbolize the importance of compassion and sharing, especially with people suffering in the world.
The lighting of the Lotus lantern is a tradition that has been passed down for more than 1,300 years. As you can see, the tradition is alive and well to this day. The parade reminds us of the wisdom and grace of Buddha, whose birthday is celebrated on May 25th this year.
Under the theme Peaceful Mind, a Harmonious World, various cultural events will be held leading up to Buddha's birthday. On Sunday, booths in front of Choge Temple will offer visitors the chance to sample Buddhist art, temple food, and folk games. Lantern exhibitions will also be held in Choge and Pungun Temple in Samsung-dong and along Cheonggyecheon Stream. The Lantern Parade ends at Seoul's central Gwanghwamun Plaza, but the legacy of Buddha and the lantern rituals are sure to continue for many generations to come. Kim Jian, Arirang News.
A multicultural music festival was held earlier today just south of Seoul. The event, co-hosted by Arirang TV, is aimed at bringing different communities together and saying thank you for the contribution foreign workers make to Korea. Shin Se-min reports.
More than 850,000 foreigners were working in Korea as of last year. The number has been on the rise thanks largely to a system introduced in 2004, which makes it easier for foreigners to find work and receive working visas. The majority of foreign workers in Korea come from South and Southeast Asia. They mostly do manufacturing work for small and mid-sized enterprises, making money to send home to their families. To support the workers, a multicultural music festival was held on Saturday in Yongin, south of Seoul. Jointly hosted by Arirang TV and the Korea Federation of SMEs, the event was set up to show appreciation for Korea's foreign workforce.
The foreigners that come here to work are crucial for many of our small and mid-sized companies. We want to give them the opportunity to show their homeland's culture to us here in Korea.
Live performances by people from Indonesia, Thailand, and Kyrgyzstan brought memories of home flooding back for many of those taking part.
On my part, very reminiscing, I kind of miss my home country, but I was able to see the different cultural heritage of different nations working here.
Showing off a traditional performance from my home country means a lot to me, especially as home is on my mind all the time.
The organizers say they hope events like this bring the Korean and foreign communities closer together and encourage them to mingle in a friendly way. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Sailors from all four corners of the world have gathered in Korea's eastern coastal city of Uljin this weekend for the 8th Korea Cup International Yacht Race. Prior to the sailors' departure earlier on this Saturday, a ceremony was held welcoming the more than 260 participants from 18 different countries. The highlight is the so-called Dokdo race, where the sailors will make their way to Ulleungdo Island and Korea's easternmost Dokdo Island and then sail back to their departure point in Uljin. The race is dubbed the Marathon on the Sea, as those taking part will be sailing almost 1,000 kilometers in just 60 hours. Now, strokes are one of the top 3 leading causes of death here in Korea, and unfortunately for the stroke survivors, one of the most promising recovery treatment comes with a nasty side effect, cancer. However, a group of Korean researchers say they've found a way of preventing such tumours forming. Our Park Se-young reports.
Most stroke survivors suffer from permanent effects like paralysis. Stem cell transplants can help by encouraging the brain to repair itself. But when stem cells convert into neural cells in the brain, they create a byproduct, neural crest cells, which can cause tumors to form. The scientists studied both types in mice using a special filter to separate the neural cells from the crest cells. The mice implanted with neural crest cells develop cancer tissues in the brain, and that's all because of one molecule.
Neural cells which had the polycylic acid neural cell adhesion molecule did not cause cancer. However, neural crest cells which did not have the molecule form mesodermal tumors and unwanted pigmented cells.
The researchers say treatments with neural stem cells free of neural crest cells are safe and effective in mice that have suffered from strokes or spinal cord injuries. Their study was published last month in Stem Cell Reports, which is a journal for the International Society for Stem Cell Research. They've also applied for a patent and plan to carry out clinical trials within 3 years. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev has been sentenced to death for the 2013 terror attack in the U.S. city. The 21-year-old will be put to death by lethal injection unless the sentence is overturned on appeal. Tsarnaev was found guilty last month on all charges, including the detonation of a weapon of mass destruction. He and his older brother Tamerlan were responsible for the bombing on April 15, 2013 that killed 3 people and injured hundreds more. Tamerlan was killed a few days later in a shootout with police. Now, the defense had unsuccessfully argued that Dzhokhar Tsarnaev should not be sentenced to death because he'd been under the influence of his domineering older brother. Legal experts say the appeal process, which is mandatory in this case, will probably take many years. And before we go, leaving you with a brief look at the weekend weather. It has been a beautiful, warm spring day across the entire country today, and we'll see almost identical conditions on Sunday with plenty of sunshine and daytime highs ranging from the mid to upper 20s nationwide. If you're planning on heading out tonight, though, you will need a light jacket because we'll see an overnight low of 10 degrees Celsius here in Seoul. With that, let's take a look at the weather in your part of the world. And those are the stories we've been following on this Saturday night in Seoul. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.co.kr/news, and do download our smartphone application. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.